you are new to this channel and enjoy what you see, then don't forget to punch that subscribe button and turn on all notifications by clicking on the bell icon to receive new and daily content on your mobile devices, desktops, and services that I provide, along with following me on these social media platforms to stay connected with me at all times. Thank you so much for your continued support. Now let's begin. With only 60 seconds remaining until the conclusion of the Tournament of Power, both Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku and Full Power Jiren collide in determining which warrior is going to have their universe emerge as the winner and the sole survivor of this battle, as right now we are going to dive into the Dragon Ball Super episode 130 preview to further dissect, break down, and analyze the coming events to get a better understanding as to what's to be expected in the upcoming episode. And just to give you guys a quick heads up, there is no episode premiering on March 10th/11th, but instead Dragon Ball Super episode 130 will be airing on March 17th/18th, with the final episode having to air exactly 1 week after on the 24th/25th by the end of the month, as we kick off the Dragon Ball Super episode 130 preview with Goku having to square up against Jiren, and Jiren doesn't look like he's going to have any sort of chance at all as Goku is pushing him back, which leads into my point as we carry on into the second image having to be shown, with literally Jiren having to be pushed back on his feet, as the narration goes on to state, "This is the true form of Ultra Instinct. Amazing power is surging within me." And it looks like, based on Jiren's demeanor, his body language, his expression, he's not having fun. As a matter of fact, he's not having any fun based on his expression and the idea that finally we have somebody who's able to push Jiren far enough in that position to where it forces him to use that much more of his power, as we transition into the next shot here and we see Goku ferociously throw a right hook on Jiren. And what I really cannot wait to see is where Goku ranks compared to Jiren in this upcoming battle, because it's kind of unknown as of right now as to where Goku stands in this fight against Jiren. However, as we transition into the next shot here, we find ourselves in a situation to where we get to see Goku and Jiren in all their glory about to collide. And the one thing that I've noticed here is Jiren is shirtless, which only means that before going into this collision, something had to have happened to Jiren on a very powerful scale that resulted in his entire shirt having to be blown off his body. So also the second thing I've noticed is Jiren's aura around him. To me, this resembles and it looks like the red version of the aura that Goku is surrounded in while under Ultra Instinct. Now, I'm not suggesting that Jiren does have Ultra Instinct, but the aura around him does remind me of exactly that. As we transition into the next shot here, as the narration goes on to state, Jiren increased his power too and is coming for me. So in all his glory, Jiren is standing before Goku shirtless, and we can only assume that now, finally, Jiren will be at full power going up against Goku. It only makes sense. There is only 60 seconds remaining, the final minute of the Tournament of Power, and what I really cannot wait to see is how Jiren scales compared to Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, as seen on your screen, with Goku having to hold his punch back. Now, going back and looking at some of the other shots having to be shown on screen, Jiren doesn't look like he's having a good time at all. It doesn't look like he has the upper hand either, because despite Jiren having to be in a state to where he possibly may release his full power, I still don't think it'll be enough. And I think that the Dragon Ball Super episode 130 preview pretty much backs up that statement, as we get to see Jiren being put in a very awkward position to where he seems to be struggling, and definitely not in a good way, as we get to see his expression and his demeanor begin to change as he's fighting Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku. And we can clearly tell, based on Goku's expression, his demeanor, his body language, Goku doesn't seem to be expressing himself the same way as Jiren in this battle, which can only tell me that despite the max power that Jiren possesses and utilizes in this fight, I still don't think it'll be enough. As we transition into the next shot here, as the narration goes on to state, "But for my friends, I can't back down now." And it looks like we have the glimpse of somebody's eyeball, presumably Jiren in this fight, glaring at Goku, as we transition into the next shot here, and Goku seems to be a tad bit surprised, maybe taken back as to what Jiren's about to do, and I can only assume that Jiren is going to be mostly on the offensive and trying to ring Goku out, but I really don't think that by the end, Jiren is going to have any sort of effect on Goku in winning as we transition into the next shot here. And Jiren, despite having to push Goku to the point where Goku has to use more of his power to fight back, it doesn't even look like Goku's struggling. However, going back to my main point, we get to see the veins on Jiren's head, the veins all around his body. It looks like Jiren is the one that's going to be struggling more than Goku as we transition into the next shot here. And this is going to be quite a situation for Jiren as he gets the ever so holy spit kicked out of him by having Goku knee him right in the ribcage. Now this goes into our next shot here as we see Jiren begin to cough up spit. For the first time in quite some time, we get to see not only Jiren battle damaged, but we also get to see the spit knocked out of his body as the translations goes on to state, Jiren, from now this is the true fight that will surpass both of our limits. So clearly Goku is looking at it from a point of view to where he wants to break his own limits, even though he already has. The question is, has Jiren? So this is a pretty cool shot because as Goku kicks him, this man is clearly hurt. For the first time ever in this tournament, Jiren's going to be feeling the after effects of what it's like to get his ass kicked as we transition into the next shot here. And it also, despite Goku having to have the lead over Jiren, it also looks like he's going to be forcing himself and kind of being on the defensive a bit because of Jiren's offensive maneuvers. So I'm really looking forward in seeing what Jiren can do as he maxes out his own power, as we get to see Goku in defensive position jump on back and utilizing an attack that I think will be very crucial in determining who's going to win this fight, because we don't really know as to what this attack is going to be. Of course, we've seen the latest Mastered UI Goku in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, but I don't really think that those moves that we saw in the game are going to be adapted in the anime as we transition into the next shot here. And whatever it is that Jiren begins to shoot out of his body, I think that he's going to really be putting all of his effort into knocking Goku down, as we might also get to bear witness to a beam struggle. And I think that this beam struggle may be the final deciding factor as to who's gonna walk away the winner or the loser via one massive beam struggle. And it really wouldn't surprise me, I would have to say, but I'm really curious to know as to the effectiveness of Jiren's power in pushing UI Goku back. So we get to see Jiren, and what I'm really curious about is the aura around him and if it's really going to give Jiren the advantage in this fight as we transition into the final shots of the preview, as it goes on to state next time on Dragon Ball Super. And I want you guys to visually look at the environment, the surrounding environment around Jiren. Not only, again, the aura, but the entire environment around him seems to be just engulfed in fire and just magma. It just looks like the entire place is burning, and we can only assume that that's because of the fight with Goku. Or maybe this is going to be Jiren walking away from that beam struggle unscathed. Maybe Jiren is the one that wins, even though I highly doubt so. There are a lot of people that are still riding on Jiren beating Goku, which again, this goes back to my earlier question, what is this aura around Jiren? He seems to be emitting the same kind of aura that Goku was displaying when he first tapped into UI. Again, I'm not suggesting that, you know, this is Jiren using Ultra Instinct. What I'm saying is the aura around his body is eerily similar to what we've seen before. So let me know in the comments as to what the heck is going on around the environment. Is it due to the end result of Goku and Jiren's clash? Is it the end result of an attack? Let me know down below as we transition into the next shot here, and we get to see a really cool shot of Goku standing over presumably his opponent as it goes on to state the greatest showdown of all time, the ultimate survival battle. Now again, my money's on Goku for obvious reasons. He has plot on his side, and of course I really don't see them buffing Jiren enough to where we get to see him being equivalent to this. But I also am curious as to where in the world Frieza is as we transition into the next shot here. And Jiren, again, throughout this entire preview, if you really pay attention, he's not been smiling, he hasn't been calm, he's been very, very, very aggressive this entire time. So the question is it because of this rage that fuels Jiren? And once again, if you look at on the side of his body, the aura that I just mentioned is surrounding him. So even though I don't think this has any sort of connection to Ultra Instinct, it's very interesting to see how it's eerily similar to Goku's as we transition into the next shot here. And this is what I really found to be a tad bit unoriginal, because they pretty much copied this from one of the previous shots of Ultra Instinct Omen, the incompleted version, when Goku was pretty much overseeing seeing Jiren, and all they pretty much did was take off his shirt and change the color of his hair. So nothing really impressive there, but as I just said, there's no mention of Frieza, there's no reference to Frieza, and I really do believe that by the end of this episode, if this comes down to them having that final fight and this being the deciding factor, then they're going to have to reveal Frieza and where he's been and what he's been doing, because it really doesn't make any sense for them to keep Frieza, you know, in the shadows, even going into the finale of this episode, because I think this episode is going to pretty much solidify the absolute end. I really don't think they're going to split this into 30 seconds each, as many people have suggested, but this preview really showcases an aggressive fight between the two, and if you really pay attention to it, it looks like the person that's going to be more or less the aggressor is going to be Jiren, but the person that's going to have the upper hand in this fight is undoubtedly going to be Son Goku. So in the end, guys, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on this preview? What are your overall thoughts on Dragon Ball Super coming to an end, as to who may win, who may lose, and by the end, do you believe that they might actually showcase Frieza in some way, shape, or form? And with Jiren's new power, with his power having to be pretty much maxed out in this fight, do you see him being relative to Goku, or more or less below him in terms of feats? Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys are new to this channel, don't forget to go on ahead and punch that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. That way you guys can be notified whenever a brand new video is posted onto this channel. If you guys have not checked out my previous videos before, you guys can find them all down in the description box below. Thank you all so very much for watching. Once again, tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you guys down the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Cue my outro, bitch.